Yes, this is Narayana. I am from one of the MNCs and I have totally 4 years of experience in SQL Server. Okay, now we will see some introduction about the SQL Server. Okay, so to run any business, it may be small scale, large scale, the basic component is like data. Without data, there is no business, right? So we will see what is data first of all. Data. So data is nothing but a collection of raw facts. Okay, which doesn't have any meaning, like a collection of raw facts which doesn't have any meaning. Okay, so if you process the zero facts, then what happens? The information will come. If you process the raw facts, the information will come. So that means information means like it's a processed data. Information means it's a processed data. It's called information. What is it? It's called a processed data. So this is the difference between data and information. Okay, data means collection of raw facts which doesn't have any meaning. Information means like it's a processed data which is having a complete meaning. Okay, so let us see a rough example that for data and example information. Let me take an example here. This Narayana is. If you see here, we have 3 words. Let us imagine these are 3 raw facts. So if you see here, individually, even though we have a meaning, but when you see combinedly, there is no meaning. So I can say it is called a data. So if I process this one, that means if reorder this one, then what happens? I get a complete meaningful sentence. That is called this is Narayana. If you see here, we have a complete meaning, right? It is called information. There is difference between data and information. If you see diagrammatically, what can we say? Whatever we give to computer as input, it is called data. Whatever you give to computer as input, it's called data. So in the computer, generally we do a lot of operations. So what happens? After operations, we get some output. The output is called information. So whatever you give to computer as input, it's called data. And whatever you get from the computer after execution, then we get information. So if you see here, what do we store in the computer? Do we store data or information? We store data in the computer. So what do we store? We store data. Okay, just wait. So what do we store? We store data. Where do we store? We store data in some place called a database. In database, we store data. So who stores data in the database? Does it store automatically? No, it doesn't store. As a human being, as a user, we have to store data in the database. So as a human being, we have to store it. We have to store the data in the database. So if I say that, please take the data, does it understand our language? No, because it is a storage place, it is a user. So here what happens? We can't access the database directly. That's why here we have a software called DBMS, which allows user to access the database. So DBMS stands for Database Management System, which allows user to access the database, means to manage the database by using a language called SQL language. So what is DBMS? It's a database management system which allows the user to access the database. Access means like managing, like inserting data, updating data, or deleting data. Okay, so here we will see a brief introduction about the DBMS along with the SQL. So what is DBMS? DBMS stands for Database Management System. So before the computers came also, we had a business, but at the time the people store data in the files. Where the people store data? The people store data in the files. So managing these files is called FMS, File Management System. After computers came, what happened? People are using the database to store data. People are using database. So managing a database is called a DBMS. Database Management System. See here, MS is common, management system. The thing is, storage place is different. Here files, here database. Okay, so here there are different types of DBMSs. We can say like NDBMS, we can say like HDBMS, we have like ODBMS, and also we have RDBMS. So among these, the most popular in the market is RDBMS, stands for Relational Database Management System. Okay, so here what happens? In these databases, the data stored in the tables which are having relationships. So some examples for RDBMS are like Oracle, okay, and Microsoft SQL Server, and also you can say like MySQL. So these are the main popular relational databases. What are those? Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, and MySQL. These are the relational databases which we are using in the market. Okay, now we will see SQL. So what is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. How to pronounce? We say SQL or SQL. We can say like a SQL or SQL. So ANSI means American National Standard Institute said that SQL is a standard language. Which is mainly used for dealing with the relational databases. SQL is a standard language which is mainly for dealing with the all relational databases. Like for Oracle database or SQL Server, for MySQL, we use SQL language. Okay, so now we will see about SQL here. So what is SQL here? SQL is a language, mainly it is for the communication between user and database. Okay, so this language again contains different types of sub-languages. What are those? Those are DDL, DML, DRL, DCL, and TCL. DDL, DML, DRL, DCL, and TCL. DDL stands for Data Definition Language. DML stands for Data Manipulation Language. DRL stands for Data Retrieval Language. Okay, DCL stands for Data Control Language. Okay, and finally TCL stands for Transaction Control Language. So these are 5 different types of sub-languages in the SQL language. DDL, Data Definition Language. DML, Data Manipulation Language. DRL, Data Retrieval Language. DCL, Data Control Language, and TCL, Transaction Control Language. Okay, so again each language has different kinds of commands. Each language has different types of commands. Those are like create, alter, drop, and truncate. So these 4 are different types of commands in the DDL sub-languages. So how to remember these 4 commands that belongs to DDL means the shortcut is Dr. Cat shortcut. DR stands for drop, C stands for create, A stands for alter, T stands for truncate. So DDL means simply remember that Dr. Cat. We can say drop, create, alter, and truncate. Next one, DML language. It also contains different types of commands. Those are like insert, update, and delete. So these four are different types of commands in the DML language. Here the shortcut like this: user ID. User ID. U stands for update, I stands for insert, D stands for delete. Okay. Next DRL. We can say DQL also. DRL or DQL. Q stands for query language. We can say query language. Data retrieval language or data query language. We have only one command, that is the select command here. Select command for DRL or DQL. Next one, DCL. DCL stands for data control language. So here mainly it is for controlling the data. Controlling the data. How to control? By giving permissions or by take back the permissions. So here we have two commands. Those are grant, revoke. Grant and revoke. So grant is used to grant the permissions to the user on any table. Okay. Revoke means to take back the permissions from the users. That is the grant and revoke. And next, transaction control language, TCL. So here we can control the transactions in two different ways, like by committing transaction, commit, or we can have a rollback. We can say save point. We have commit, rollback, and save point. So commit means what happens? So when you run the transaction, what happens? It affects the database temporarily, first of all. So after affecting temporarily, if you want to make them permanent, then we use a commit. If you want to restore the changes, we use rollback. If you want to restore like a part of the transactions, we go for the save point. We go for save point. Okay. So before going to discuss each and every command, let us see what is a table first of all. Let us see what is a table before going to discuss about all the commands. So here, what is table now? If you see here, we have a small table like a ID and name 1, 2, suppose A and B. So if you see here, it looks like a complete table. So if you observe here, there are two parts. There are two parts. It is called a one part, like first part, it's a second part. We can have a two parts here. So what is the first part and what is the second part? So this part is called, you can say like it's a structure of a table. What you call structure of a table. Or you can say definition of a table. Definition of a table. Or you can say like a metadata of a table. Or you can say header. We have a lot of names for the first part. And the second part is the data. What you call? This is the data. So when you have both the parts, definition part and data part, or structure part and data part, when you have both the parts, then it's called a complete table. What you call? We call a complete table. When you have both the parts, then only it's called a table. For example, if you don't have this one, if you don't have a data part, we have a structure part. We say the structure of a table, not a table. It's a structure of a table. Let me have like this. Yes. So here what happens? Now we came to know what is SQL. We came to know different types of sub-languages, and also came to know different kinds of commands in each sub-language. But now we must know when do we use DDL language, when do we use DML language, and when do we use DRL, DCL, and TCL. We must know the uses of the each and every language. Okay. So here to create or to work with first part, that is definition part, which language we use there? To work with first part, that is definition part or structure part, which language we use? We use the data definition language. Data definition language. What is this? It's a definition, right? It's a definition. So to work with the definition, generally go for the definition language. Definition language. Okay. Next, to work with after having the complete definition, then the next thing is we have to work with the data. How to work with? First of all, we have to insert the data. How to insert? By using insert command. After inserting, we can update, we can delete. So we can do these operations by using data manipulation language. Data manipulation language. So for this part we use DDL. For this part we use DML. Next, if you use DRL, what happens? Generally, we can have both the parts. DRL. So means if you select statement, generally we can get the definition part and data part. For both the parts we use DRL. Okay. Now we'll see each and everything one by one. Now we can see with the examples. Okay. So here DCL means what happens. So it's a table. For example, it's a table. You can say like a for example EMP table. So generally I don't have permission on the EMP table. Then what happens? I ask DBA to give me permissions on some select statement. So he gives me permission on select statement by using grant. After some time he takes the permission, take back permission by using a revoke. We'll see these things with examples. Okay. So here we use create to create the structure of a table. Like we have ID and name. Okay, we'll see examples now. We have create, right? Create. So first one is create. We'll see first create. So why do we use create? To create a table. How to create? Like this. Create table. Table name is I'll take suppose student. So we can take like ID and also have name. So we have two columns. But here what happens? While creating table, for every column we have to say that you must take particular type of data. For every column we must say that you take a particular type of data, whether it is numbers or string values or date values or salary values. We have to say for every column. So generally, let's see that one also. Those are called data types. For numbers, we use integer number like employee ID or like commission or phone number. For Aadhaar card, for those we use a number, means integer. So for string values, we use generally we use varchar of some size. String values like first name, last name, father name, address. Okay, for those. Next for date values. For date values we use date type. Like this we have some data types. But for now just remember, for number values we use int, for string values we use varchar. Okay, so here if I use int, that means I am saying to ID column that you must take integer values. For name I use varchar of some size 10. So for name column I am saying that you must take some string values generally, so that it will take a string values. So when I run that one, what happens? I get this is as a output. So when I run this one, what happens now? I get like this, ID and name. This is the structure now. Okay. So this is by using create. Next we have alter. Why do we use alter? So alter is used to modify the structure. Like we can modify in 4 ways. First one is like by adding a new column to the existing table. Like this. How to add a new column? Adding new column. How to add new column? Like this. The syntax like this. Alter table. Table name is what is table name here? Student, right? Alter table name is student. So what I want to add some like father name. I wanted father name. So we can use add f name. We use a date type for the f name also. Varchar of 20. So now what happens? When I run this statement, what happens here? The output like this. What is the output now? Here we have a father name. Okay, this is the first usage. Adding new column. For example, imagine just I want to drop the name column. For example, I want to drop the name column. How to drop the name column? Like dropping existing column. How to drop existing column? Like this. Alter table table name. So what I want to drop? I want to drop the column, right? So here we use a drop column. What is column name? I want to drop the name column. I want to drop the name column. Here we don't need to mention the date type here. While dropping the column, no need to mention the date type. But while adding a column, we have to mention the date type, corresponding date type. Yes. So if for this one, what is the output here? The output like this. So what happens here? The name column is removed. So finally we have ID and like some father name. Okay, this is output of the dropping. The third case is so for ID column, what is data type here? Internally it has an integer, right? For name we have varchar internally. The background we have a varchar of 28. So the third instance is I want change the data of a fname column. I want to make it a like char. I want to make it a char. So how to alter table name is a student. Okay, so now what I want to see in these two cases, I didn't modify the like any existing, just I removed, I added only. I didn't modify the, right? So here what I want, I am going to put a column. In that column I am going to modify the structure. Okay, so alter table name. Here what I am going to modify an f name. So again alter now. Alter column. What is the column name? F name. What I want to make? I want to make it a char of some 20 now. So here what happens? Alter table name means like modifying the table. In the table again I am modifying the column, right? Again alter column. So what happens now? In the background it makes like a char of 20 now. Okay. The fourth case is I want to change the size. I want to make it a 10 now. I want to make it a 10. So here I can use now. Alter table name is a student. Again alter column is f name, and I want to change the size only 10. So now what happens here? It will make 10 now. It will make 10. So this is the way to work with alter. Next drop. It's simple. Drop table name. So if we use drop here, what happens? It removes the table permanently from the database. It removes the table permanently from the database. Table means both the parts. Like if you have a structure and the data, it removes both the parts permanently from the table. Syntax like this. Drop table name is like this. Student. What happens now? It removes the table permanently from the database. Okay. Next truncate is there. Truncate table name. So that means what happens? Generally people say that truncate means what happens? Just it removes the data, not a structure. After running the truncate, if you use select statement, we can see the structure. Means it removes the entire data. Okay. So syntax like this. Truncate table name is like this. We'll see some more about the truncate while discussing the delete command in the DML. We'll see more about the truncate. We'll see when discussing the delete in the DML command. So these are the DDL commands. So finally, after working with all the definition, all the commands, the final definition is like this: ID with the name, f name. Okay. Now what happens?